Welcome back to another episode. I am so glad that you're here. Today, we are going to talk about the hidden cost of not moving your body. So, let's jump right into it. First of all, a lot of people see exercise as a way to lose weight or to look skinnier or to look more toned. But the main issue here is that when you don't see the results or when you have your motivation die, normally exercise goes with it. And the reason for this is because we have created this idea that exercise not only is annoying, but also is associated with the act of losing weight. A lot of people have not created the association that exercise, aka moving your body, not only can it be pleasurable, but it also is necessary. And today I'm here to explain what happens when your body does not move at all. First, I want to give you my personal experience because I feel like that way you'll be able to understand it better. I have always been overweight my whole life, but I have always been active as well. I was in the athletic club at school, so we would have a gathering every single week where we would run, we would jump, we would weight lift, we would throw weights, pretty much anything that you see in the athletic groups, I would do it. Besides doing that, at the same time, I also was in dance classes and later on dance competitions. I would go all around the country, especially around my personal city of Lisbon, competing and showing up on shows and having hour-long shows where we would dance with high energy, with maximum strength, every single time. We're talking about that I would be sweating bullets while having my hair stay as perfect as humanly possible, wearing the outfits that was assigned to us, and at the same time having to somehow keep the makeup in check. So I always was extremely active. But then as I started to work and study and have less and less time, I also started to not allocate time for movement. And here's the key word: movement. A lot of people believe that for them, movement has to be actual exercise, having to go onto a gym, having to spend money on a membership, going to Pilates classes, going to lift weights, having to do all these things, going on the treadmill, running for hours. Movement, in its essence, does not correlate to any type of exercise specifically. When we talk about exercise and we talk about moving your body, especially if we look at health-wise, so the way that we as medical professionals and people that are studying to become medical professionals, what we learn is that you should do 30 minutes of light to moderate exercise every single day. What that entails for you is also around 100 or 120 to 150 minutes of high intensity. But you could also do low intensity. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They believe that they need to go into a gym and run on the treadmill for an hour and then do another hour of lifting weights. And if that is exactly what you want and you do it every day and you enjoy it, go on right ahead. That's a lovely form of movement. But for those that absolutely hate the gym, the idea of doing that is dreadful. So here's what I recommend. Find a movement that you enjoy. Do you enjoy walking? Then walk. Do you enjoy Pilates? Do Pilates. If you enjoy yoga, do yoga. If you enjoy running, run. But also, forms of movement don't need to be very specific or pre-planned. You could increase your movement by taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking your car further away from the grocery store and walk the rest of the way. Maybe instead of you sending an email to the colleague that is just one floor above you to ask something short, maybe you could just get up of your seat and go up the stairs and go to the colleague directly and ask them. there's many things that you can do to increase your movement throughout the day. Do you have kids? Maybe play with your kids in the park when they don't have school or even after school. Are you someone that you tend to sit down while you're folding your laundry? Maybe stand up so that way you are adding more movement. Are you someone that you work on a desk all day? Get a standing desk so that you're able to do intervals in between standing and sitting. Sit down for a period of time when your legs get tired, stand back up when you're feeling fine again, and stand for that period of time. And if you want to add a bonus, which some people do, with the standing desk, sometimes they get a walking treadmill. It's basically a treadmill that you slide under your desk. It goes at a low speed and allows you to basically be walking while you do certain tasks. Of course, not all tasks can be done while walking. There's some that maybe will need for you to sit down, but the lighter weight tasks that you may do, I don't see any issues in doing standing or even doing walking. The key here to movement is finding one that has some sort of level of fun. Do you have fun dancing at home? Then dance more often. Do you have more fun going later in the day, walking with your family around time? Then go walk. The thing here is that we have associated movement with something very time constricted and something very specific. And that is the biggest issue, is that when we do that, it means that we move less and we stay more times being sedentary and stationary. And that costs us a lot. It costs in our mood because less movement equals more stress, more anxiety, and more possible depression symptoms, your energy. Basically, it can make your fatigue worse, and it drops the delivery of oxygen, which also reduces the blood flow. So you're feeling more tired. Brain as well. Movement protects your memory and your focus. Sitting too much literally can shrink parts of your brain. And then also an increased risk for bone loss, chronic pain, muscle reduction, because one thing that I will tell you that I'm starting to feel is that once you reach around 30 years old, your body has a harder time to build muscle. It's not that it can't, it's that it becomes a little harder because your body basically starts to prepare itself in a way for older age. But the issue here is, what tends to happen is when you're 30 years old and you don't have that much muscle, and then you try to want to gain it for some sort of reason, you have a harder time because your body's metabolic system has a harder time once you reach that age. It's not like overnight it just goes. It's like it starts to become harder. And it gets harder and harder and harder as the years progress, as you become older and older, and we're talking around when you're like 50 and 60 years old, it's a lot harder. So the ideal situation is for you to continuously exercise so that you don't lose muscle mass, because the loss of muscle mass can also increase your insulin resistance. So the less muscle you have, the more insulin resistance you may have. Also, loss of muscle mass means that later in life you're going to have a harder time to get out of bed, to get up, to jump. It is so incredible to see people when they're like 70, 80, 90 moving as if they still are in their 50s and 60s. It is incredible to see. And it's all because most of them either had high demanding jobs that caused them to naturally gain more muscle over time, or they have kept up a routine at the gym or a routine in their daily lives that caused them to actually maintain their muscle relatively healthy. So that has caused them to be able to move really well. And there's so many examples that you can see, especially in the public eye, of this. And the one thing that I tell people is movement is not just, one and done. Let me get this today. You can literally start by what I like to call movement snacks. Movement snacks is 5 to 10 minutes of some sort of movement. For example, Let's imagine that you are a student or a worker. Get up, give a walk for like 5 minutes. For example, students especially, this happens very often because I see it very often. As a college student, I see it all the time. You get out of one class, you go straight to the toilet, do whatever you need to do for your business, and then you go straight to the next classroom and you sit your butt down. You just spent 50 to 90 minutes sitting in your butt and you're gonna sit again? No. Maybe what you can do is you put your back down just to release the pressure out of your shoulders and then walk up and down the corridor, or at least stay standing while lightly moving your feet or even giving a light stretch. Especially students, with all due respect, I don't know about your college, but mine, I hate those chairs so much. I hate it. It doesn't give you proper back support. So you're standing there either as if you like swallowed a fork or completely crooked. Get up, walk, stretch. People that work, depending on your job, you may not be able to do this as often. People that stand on their feet, like people that work in shops, you may actually move more than everyone else. So you may actually find that when you want to get home, you actually want to sit down, which is fair. Then in your case, what you should be doing is maybe before you go to work, do a light exercise, because most people that work on their feet, they are normally standing on their feet for like 7 to 8 or even 9 hours. That can be very, very tiring on the legs. So it's completely understandable if you prefer to take a break. Now, people that sit in their jobs, like desk work, every 30 to 45 minutes, get up. If need be, use an excuse. Getting a glass of water, delivering something to a colleague, going to the bathroom, and use the stairs instead of using the elevator if it's short distances. Of course, I'm not going to ask you to go from like floor 0 all the way to floor 7 on the stairs. You can if you want to. That's perfectly fair, but you may not enjoy it. But at least try to use it more often or walk more often. If you are able to work at your desk and have a standing desk, even better. Just go ahead every 30 to 45 minutes, put the thing up, do another 30 to 45 minutes or even an hour standing, sit back down, and you do that throughout the day. Another thing that you can do is anchor it with something that you already do. This is called habit stacking. So for example, maybe you love listening to podcasts. Walk while you're listening to podcasts. Maybe after you brush your teeth, do a quick stretch. And like when I mean stretch, is like really stretch, like stretch your back, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, do all that. Just that is already adding movement to your body and at least removing all the clicks and everything out of your body. And also you need to redefine what exercise means to you. Exercise is not punishment. It should be fuel for your mental clarity and for your body. And also celebrate it. When you do exercise, when you do move, when you do something like that, celebrate it. Have fun. Because by doing that movement, you are celebrating a better future for yourself, because you will be able to feel healthy at the end of your life. What a lot of people tend to experience as they get older is literally losing the ability to move their body because of lack of muscle. And if we are able to keep our bodies healthy, the most of the time you are able to reach the end of your life and say, I can get out of bed without help. I can get out of the sofa without help. I can get into the shower without help. And that is one of the most powerful things that you are able to say to someone is, no, I don't need help. And you just go in or you just get up. You don't need anyone else's assistance to be able to get out of that place. And that is one of the best things that you can acquire by the end of your life. So, what did we learn? We learned that we can do short movement, 5 to 10 minutes. We can include more movement in our lives by putting the car further away, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, redefining exercise as a form of helping your body for the future and also for your mental and emotional clarity. And also that you should pick movements that you enjoy and that naturally fit your typical lifestyle. Knowing this, I hope to see you implement any of them. And if you do, I would love to hear what you have tried. And if you need any advice or if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comment section below. I will see you next week for the next episode. Have a lovely, awesome week. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.